Good afternoon and good evening, depending on where you're listening from. Welcome to Thursday in Age Reversing Health with my friend and colleague, knowledgeable health coach, Judy Friesen. She's going to join me in a minute. And today's broadcast, still going to be talking about age reversing health. But today we're going to focus on something called Carnosine. What is it and how important is it to you? Let's get into that right now. Well, it is Thursday again, and we're back here for another episode of Age Reversing Health. Now, doesn't that just grab your attention? Is it possible? And if it is, how does that happen? And of course, we're going to be specifically talking about this wonderful all-natural product called LifeWave and how it works on our bodies. But before I get into that, I just want to explain to some of you that we are having difficulty streaming into our groups. And so you're going to probably be seeing this posted later in our Real Things That Matter group and other places. But right now, the segue, the pathway to streaming to groups on Facebook is more than a challenge. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Judy Friesen onto the stage with me. Welcome, Judy. How are you doing in beautiful BC?
Hey, Carl, it is a beautiful day here. It is almost 80 degrees, which is unheard of. So we are having a real heat wave, but I'm doing well, and you're looking good too. You look like you're well.
Yeah, you know, I've got some sunlight issues in my office here, which are going to be met with some blinds because I feel illuminated. In yesterday's call, I looked like I was translucent. There was so much light coming off this big gesicht of mine. But, you know, I get so excited coming up to Thursdays, you know, when we get into this discussion, you know, and we feel we have something to offer. And before we get into that, I just want to take care of some housekeeping details. And I'll ask you to, you know, chime in on this, is that we are not doctors. We are not your doctor. We are not giving you medical advice. We are simply here to present information that could steer you in the right direction. What would you add to that, Judy?
Absolutely. Our hearts are to help guide our listeners to taking good, easy, and effective steps to help their health. And we just want to make sure that everybody on this planet has the opportunity to know about this amazing health technology that you and I have discovered.
Yeah, and to that end, when we talk about our patches, we want it to be clearly understood that our patches are not designed to heal, treat, diagnose, or cure any known disease or illness. But what they can do and what they do is regenerate the body. And that's why we've titled this Age Reversing Health, because we believe it's possible to do that. And I know you've been involved with the LifeWave product for about 4 years now. Is that correct, Judy? That's what are some of the things you've seen in the 150 clients and people that you consult with?
Yeah, I've seen it all, Carl. I've been absolutely amazed at everything from getting rid of arthritis symptoms, all the itises that people suffer from, the inflammatory autoimmune disorders, right through to something surfacey like wrinkles. But the main thing is that people are saying they have more energy, they sleep better, they have less brain fog, and they really are enjoying life. They're able to get down on the floor and play with their grandkids. But more importantly, they know that they are extending their life, not just in number of years, but in the quality of their life.
And that's a big marker right there. I have a T-shirt that says, never mistake a long life for a good life. And we know that, you know, certainly those of us who are in the baby boomer age, and we also do focus on the younger people. We're not here to simply talk to those that are 50, 60, 70, 80 years old. There is also the need in our younger people to preserve the youthfulness that they have. And we believe our products can do that. We believe that by bringing the body to a point of homeostasis, good things happen. Inform our listeners a little bit more about that homeostasis. Such a big word, but it really has a simple meaning to it.
Yeah, it's really about balance, isn't it? You know, you
Yes.
need to balance the body. And when the body's out of balance, it's going to let you know, it's going to get your attention. And the attention that it's going to try to get to you is to say, hey, look, you're not feeling well. You can't focus. You've got all kinds of inflammation happening in your joints. You're feeling older. You're not healing as fast. Your scars aren't going away. So may not be able to do all the athletics that you're used to do. And even when I meet people in their 20s and 30s who are high level athletes who are really competitive, when they put these patches on, you'd think, well, they're not going to make any difference, this light wave technology, because they're already young and very energetic. But even they notice that they reach another level of intensity and flexibility and strength when they wear this light wave technology.
One of the markers about any product is not just what the company says about it, or even what we say about talking about a product. I think the most powerful one is the testimonies that come. But behind those testimonies, behind the patches, are more than 80 clinical studies that the company has conducted over its 20-year legacy. And we are entirely science-based. We're not a wishful kind of placebo effect kind of company where, put it on and talk yourself into feeling better. The science is really there. So when we talk about science, we're talking about regeneration of the body. And that's why our focus here is on age-reversing health. And this is not, although it does manifest itself in look, it goes way deeper than that, Judy, right? Explain that a little bit more on the deep levels of cellular activity, as we can say it, and we can't say certain things, but we can say a lot that will give you the indication of what's happening.
Exactly. Well, like we talked about in our last episode last week, we talked about autophagy. So we know that the body wants to heal itself. And by doing that, it needs to clear out the rubble, clear out the garbage, and lay down new cells. So it needs to kill off the cells that are diseased or dysfunctional, and it clears those out. But there has to be a way to do that. And that is really this cell death that we were talking about, autophagy. And so we need to deal with autophagy. The body needs to have the ability and the energy to kill those cells and get them removed. But here's the problem. As we get older, the functionality, the ability for the body to perform autophagy goes down. And you don't want that, because if you're not getting rid of the old disease cells, guess what? You're going to start feeling sluggish. You're not going to have the energy. You're not going to have the homeostasis, the balance, and you're going to start getting all these diseases coming up that get diagnosed. So we want to have cell death of the disease cells, not the good cells.
Well, and at the same time, what comes to mind is as these cells die, and they die regularly, we're always going through that. We want to enhance the autophagy to move out those dead cells, but we need something to come in behind that. Explain that to our listeners.
That's right. So once those cells are removed, you can't just keep taking away all the bad cells. Then you'll be shrinking. You won't even be a full human anymore. You got to replace those cells. Did you know that, the you that you were when you were 5 you're a whole new you when you're 55, because all the cells that you had when you were 5 don't carry through all those years. They're replaced. And that's a good thing. The quality of the cells that are replaced is the big question. So what we need to do is understand that as your cells turn over, you are a new you, year in, year out. Some cells turn over every 5 to 7 days, like in the stomach, whereas other cells take a lot longer. Like your all new bone cells, your whole skeleton is replaced about every 9 or 10 years. So there's a lot of replacement going on, and we need to have our body replace good, healthy cells. And there are ways to make sure that happens. And the body has come up with a magnificent, amazing way to lay down the new cells that need to be replaced. And it's with our own stem cells. We're all born with stem cells. The baby's placenta is full of stem cells. And those stem cells go in and replace what the bad cells were that were discarded.
And I think we're going to delve into that in another show and graphically show our listeners what we're talking about, because the descent of these important cells, these regenerative cells, these cells that form every part of our being, are on a rapid decline, certainly past the age of about 50. And so, where are the new cells coming from? Well, we have the key to that, and it's in the wonderful copper peptide in our body called GHKCU. And this is scientifically proven by Dr. Lauren Picard. I know you're familiar with that study too about GHKCU. For just in a few minutes before we get to carnosine, because that's
Sure.
what we promised our listeners, just talk about this all-important peptide and the role it plays in our body.
Yeah, copper peptide is an absolutely critical peptide, and it's in every human being, but it's not in the right levels always as we age. So we want to have high levels of this copper peptide. Why? Because when you have enough copper peptide, that's kind of the fuel that excites the stem cells that are lazy and getting lazier as you get older. And so the copper peptide is a key element to having enough stem cells so that it can take care of laying down new eye cells, new liver cells, new kidney cells, new bone cells, or whatever the case might be. So it's a really important aspect of staying young and actually reversing our age. The faster you can replace the old cells, the more you have a chance of actually reversing your age. So you're not actually, while you're on your driver's license, you may be 55 or 60. In your biological body, you may be like a 40-year-old. And that is why people are saying to me, Judy, I can't believe it. I've been walking around like a 60-year-old, but I feel like I'm a 40-year-old, or I'm in 40 and now I feel like I'm 20. It is unbelievable when you start to feel that your body is healthier and you start acting and feeling and then looking even younger.
Well, yesterday, David Schmidt, who is the founder, CEO, the inventor, and the scientific mind behind all of the LifeWave products, including all the patches, gave a webinar. And I know you were struck by it, because we all expected it to talk about carnosine, which we're going to talk about. We started off talking about how to become a superhero. And I thought that was a really cute way to bring the point to the surface that people today are living beyond their years. The new 60 is a 40-year-old, and a 60-year-old is an 80-year-old chronologically, but they're 20 years back there. And we want to talk about this beautiful, naturally occurring, what is it, an enzyme? What is carnosine, as you can best explain it? Because I defer to you when it comes to this sort of thing.
Well, yeah, carnosine is an amino acid, and it is a dipeptide, which means that it has two parts to it. And we don't need to go into all the science about it, but if anyone knows about a dipeptide, it means that the carnosine molecule is made up of two things together. And those are two amino acids, and they're called L-histidine and beta-alanine. So think of histidine and beta-alanine, and those two things is what makes up the molecule called carnosine. And guess what? Carnosine, a lot of people don't know that it's an antioxidant, and it's prevalent in the body, but specifically it's prevalent in 3 areas, because those areas are what needs to have carnosine in order to function well. The one place that it's very highly, when you take apart a human and you look at all the parts of it, they find that a cadaver has 3 main areas that carnosine resides: in the brain, in the eyes, and in the heart, the muscles.
Okay, let's just put a page marker in there, because certainly those are 3 very important bodies of our anatomy and our ability to function. So when we talk about carnosine in the brain, what are you saying necessarily? What's the hookup between carnosine and a sharp mind, a mind state that is high in acumen? What are we talking? Are we talking about that brain function, clarity of mind?
Yeah, it's one of the many things that affects how clear and how much our memory is working, is if we have the right ingredients there. And for the nerves and the synapses to send the messages and to do all of the amazing electrical things that it has to do in the brain, you need adequate amounts of carnosine. And most people who have been, say, diagnosed with dementia or Alzheimer's, when they do a post-mortem biopsy of the brain, it's almost invariable that a person that has been diagnosed with that condition does not have hardly any carnosine whatsoever. So we know that there is a correlation. They've not linked that if you take carnosine, you'll cure Alzheimer's. They haven't made that, but they have said that there's not a causation, but a correlation. There's definitely a correlation between low carnosine levels and the way the brain operates. So it's both cognition and memory and clear thinking. So if our listeners have trouble with focus, with clarity of mind, with brain fog, if you've never had brain fog, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But when you've had it, you know for sure.
Think of a London fog where you can't see. And that's a brain fog.
Think of putting Vaseline, over your eyes and having to think through that blurriness. So carnosine is so important in the brain. And that's why it's also found in high amounts in the eyes. So if people have eye issues, carnosine is a very, very good thing. And of course, you can take carnosine supplementally. You can get carnosine from eating meat. If you're a vegetarian or a vegan, you definitely need to supplement with this part of it called alanine, because alanine is what the body uses as the building blocks to turn into carnosine. You don't take carnosine supplements. You take alanine to get carnosine, but you need it for not only the brain, but also for helping to prevent eye disorders. But I feel like the chance of taking a supplement and having it break down in the stomach and getting it through the blood-brain barrier and into my optic nerve or into my brain is a very tall order. As you get older, you don't digest and assimilate. So I've decided to stop taking alanine or depending upon my diet to get me enough carnosine, because I know I'm going to be low in that, especially with my family history. That's why I've chosen to accelerate my carnosine more naturally through this light wave technology called LifeWave patches.
Yeah, and specifically, there is a patch called Carnosine, which for our listeners in Canada isn't currently available in Canada. It was at one point, but so many things are coming under restriction and oversight and being censored. We are in the process of trying to reestablish our product back in Canada, and hopefully we will, along with other patches like glutathione, which are amazing too. But this carnosine thing, at one point yesterday in the webinar, David mentioned that if he had eye problems, if he was struggling with vision, he would definitely recommend carnosine drops. That's how effective, as you mentioned, that carnosine is appearing in the eyes in a cadaver. As the analysis goes, they see that. So we know that carnosine is important. So when we're talking about age reversing health, we're talking about helping our organs become healthier. You mentioned antioxidant. As carnosine is an antioxidant. Did I get that correct from you?
Yeah. It's an amino acid, but it also acts as an antioxidant.
Right. So does that help counter free radicals in the body?
Exactly. And so what are free radicals? Where they're the bad guys that play havoc and they bump into your cells and they damage your cells. Remember, I talked earlier about that you need to have autophagy and get rid of the diseased or the bad cells. Well, there are disease cells, but there's damaged cells. So when you have when you have an oxidant, we always have stuff going on in our bodies, and it gives off these things that are called oxidants, and they are missing a positive charge, so they're bumping into our cells and damaging them. So we need antioxidants to get rid of all the oxidation. Think of oxidation, Carl, this way. When you cut open an apple, what happens?
Exactly. The yellowing starts to be affected by the oxygen right away.
Right. The oxygen or air affects the cells of the opened up apple flesh, and the apple just doesn't turn yellow. It actually goes all the way to brown. It actually rusts out. So oxygenation is not a good thing. And guess what? Cancer cells love to feed on oxygen.
Yeah.
So we want to have lots of antioxidants to get rid of this oxidative effect. And carnosine is one of the many players that really helps with that.
So for those of you watching outside of Canada, where our carnosine product, LifeWave Carnosine, is available, you have ready access to it. But for those of us in Canada, perhaps, and in other areas, let's talk about another patch that LifeWave is very big on, and that's the X39. What are the properties of X39 that play into countering free radicals as well? Because that's the job of carnosine. But speak to us about the X39 for a moment for our listeners.
Sure. Like if you can't get your hands on the carnosine patch, of course, take the supplement of alanine. But the other patch that I would recommend for people who are trying to keep their bodies healthy and to have enough antioxidants and less inflammation is the X39. It's our premier product. It does 8 different things in the body, not to mention helping with lactic acid, which carnosine also helps to lower, so you can exercise longer and fuller. The X39 also is a patch that works with your natural copper peptide in your body. And then that's the copper peptide that actually helps to stimulate those stem cells that we all humans all have. So X39 is a patch that uses your own body heat called infrared body heat. And that heat actually goes and fires up that patch that you wear, that X39 patch. And that patch has a proprietary lattice work of amino acids and sugar crystals that reflect back your body heat in a very proprietary light wave, low-level light. And that is what activates the actual copper in your body. So it's a big sciencey thing, but all you have to know is that when you put on the X39, you are actually making sure that your body gets into homeostasis through using light rather than a supplementation. There's nothing that goes into your body when you put the patch on other than light. So I love that because there's no worry about whether the supplement is made the correct way or if there's pesticides or herbicides or GMO. You don't have to worry about all of that. Our patches are safe for absolutely everybody, and they really do address the root of the problems that we're having.
I had a discussion today with a lady who's looking at joining our LifeWave community. And for those of you out there, you can get in touch with us as to how you can do that. But we were talking about, when you go to see a naturopath, there's a diagnosis of use this and this and this. But what's different about this patch is that it's stimulating the body to do what it needs to do at the level it needs to do it. So does it become sort of self-regulating at that point?
Yes, exactly. The body knows what it needs to do in the priority it needs to do it. And what I love is that when you stimulate the body to make its own natural antioxidants, which is glutathione and carnosine, then it actually makes the right amount. So I was going back to saying, well, you could take a supplement. Well, guess what? If you take a supplement, how do you know whether to take 200 milligrams, 400 milligrams, 600 milligrams? Everybody is different. Every body is different, and everybody is different in their needs. So when you wear this wearable technology, the beautiful thing is that the body has an innate intelligence to know exactly how much to make on any given day. It will make 200 milligrams for me in this day. Maybe the next day I need 283 milligrams. You can't get that specific when you're supplementing, but you can when you're wearing this light technology. And I see the banner running there at the bottom, Carl, and that's what I love to talk about, is that we want to not just live long, but we want to live well. We want to live well and live younger. I don't want to be strapped with five chemical or prescriptions and be in a wheelchair for 20 years before I die. I want to be energetic, and then the next day when it's my time, I'm happy to go. So I want to live younger. And if people want to get in touch with you or
and the banner there also, the liveyounger.com, we invite you to go there, and it's just a brief introduction into what LifeWave is, what X39 is. It has some testimonies there, some visuals of people which are undoctored. They're not Photoshop pictures. They're actual pictures of people before and after.
Yeah.
And in as much as we can't say what we'd like to say, and privately, we can give you a lot more information. We used to be able to say that we had an effect on stem cells. We can't say that. We don't say that, and we don't make that claim that our patches stimulate stem cell activity. However, what we can say is that the cells that you need to regenerate to achieve that live long, live well, live younger endeavor are accomplished by wearing our patches. And that's what's so cool about this. I can't help but smile and get excited every time I talk to somebody, because we truly have what people are looking for, and we have it in the most natural way. You said you don't want to be hooked to drugs the rest of your life. We want to live free of those things that enslave us, that have detrimental effects to and side effects. What are the side effects to the patches?
There aren't any. I don't want to live like the way my mother lived for the last 15 years of her life, sitting in a diaper in a wheelchair and having somebody feed her. Carl, I don't want that for any of our listeners. And so that's why I'm so excited about the opportunity to reverse our age, to live far more with vitality right up until we take our last breath. And you know what? A lot of this is not just physical, it's about our mental health too. We need to really consider that carnosine, it will help our mental health. And we know that there is a plethora of people that are suffering in the area of anxiety and depression. And boy, I wish I had these patches for my mom when she was alive, because of course, sitting in a diaper all day and the nurse is forgetting to come in, and then she has to sit in her own excrement, that's going to depress anybody. And so you need to have not only good physical health, but you want to have good mental health as well. And this light technology is able to help with the mental health, with happiness and wholeness and less fear and less anxiety. That's what it's done for me personally.
I'm glad you mentioned mental health. You know, I was listening to one of my favorite preachers the other day, and he said, I'll get this a little wrong, but you'll get the gist of it, that all mental issues have their root in anxiety, that mental health is so important to achieving anything. And the popular saying is if you can believe it, you can achieve it. The state of mental health that is required for us to actually live younger is so important. That's why the revitalization, the regeneration, and the hope that LifeWave presents it's incalculable how far it'll go into our being, into our core.
Yep. And you know what? Going right back full circle to this talk about carnosine, did you know that carnosine is actually something that crosses the blood-brain barrier, and it is neuroprotective for the brain? That is a huge mouthful, but it is neuroprotective for the brain. And when you are in that place of looking for answers and you don't want to go to a prescription which has all kinds of side effects, having something that's going to calm the brain, eliminate the toxins, it eliminates heavy metals. Both the X39 as well as the carnosine eliminates heavy metals from the body and from the brain. And I really want to keep my eyesight, so I'm happy to know it's going to protect my eyes at the same time and extend my life, literally make me feel and look and operate younger.
So this carnosine penetrates the membrane of the brain, the blood, is it the blood-brain membrane as we call it? But then it protects the brain.
Yes.
Blood-brain, thank you, blood-brain barrier. But then it protects the brain. So you can't underestimate the significance of that.
No.
And so again, just to bring our listeners up to speed, what are we offering you? We're offering you and extending an invitation for you to reach out to us through this broadcast, however you hear it. And Judy works with me. We work together. And we are only two people in a vast community. Our immediate community is more than 150,000 people who have achieved better health all naturally. We extend an invitation for you to come and investigate the LifeWave product. That's all it is. We're not pitching. We are simply extending an invitation because Lord knows people are looking for what we have. All natural, no side effects, cost effective, no more than the cost of a cup of coffee. on the premier patches and less than that on our regular patches. So, and not to mention, and I do want to put it in here because it's not part of our model or part of our agenda. There is a wonderful business side to this product. So your health, the health of others, the health of loved ones, and the ability to get recognized in pay for that.
You know, Carl, I'm glad you brought that up, because when I took a look at this product, I said to myself, you know, I'm not sure that I am ready to spend an extra $200 a month or whatever it was going to be. But when someone told me, hey, you could get that $200 back in just referring a few people. And when I saw the business opportunity, you know what that did for me is it actually added to my mental health, to actually improve my mental health. Why? Because now they are saying that mental health is associated with doing things for other people as a volunteer. You want to volunteer, you want to give back to people. Well, this company gives me the opportunity to literally give back to mankind, to help improve their quality of life, and to be able to get my patches for free is just a bonus. I do it not for the money. I do it because I really know that mental health is associated with giving and loving other people, not being self-focused, but others focused.
You know, my mind goes back to so many things, but I think about one of the people I admire. He's a great speaker and a huge proponent of good mental health, Simon Sinek, and he talks about telling about doing something good for somebody and what that does to the endorphins that are released into our system,
Yes.
that stimulate our brain, that cause all kinds of wonderful things to happen. And then he goes on to say that even telling a good story about something someone did, something somebody else did, the good deed, has that effect. So it is so powerful that when we think about our minds being stimulated, that's the beginning of it. That's the beginning of hope. It's the beginning of significance. I mean, it goes on from there, all the different things that are so significant that happen in our brain.
Exactly. Yeah. We are a holistic being, and we need to recognize that we've got a mind, a spirit, a soul, and a body, and it behooves us to take good care of it. So we're offering an option for people to take care of the body with a new medical technology that is second to none. It's been tested. It's got all the science behind it. And I'm saying to myself, why wouldn't I try it? Why wouldn't I tell others about it and let them make their own choice? But it's my mission on earth to at least give people the option to take a look at something they may not understand right away. It may seem crazy, it may seem hokey, but with over 88 clinical studies behind this technology, we know that we're not offering snake oil. We're offering a real thing that makes a real difference in the body without any side effects.
And let's not forget a money back guarantee. When is the last time you got a money back guarantee on anything health related? Should it not work? Should it not meet your expectations? Should it not solve the problem?
Yeah, that's
people
right.
People have drawers full of scripts that didn't do a thing except take the money and run, as Eddie Money said. But here we are offering this money back guarantee, clinically tested product that is 20 years on the market. Folks, you know what Judy said? I'm going to throw mine in there too. I spoke with this person today who I was talking about. She's a homeopathic person. I said, this is what I'm going to be doing the rest of my life, telling people about LifeWave, getting paid for it, and enjoying the benefits, and watching others get the benefits as well. So, Judy, thank you so much. I know we're past our time here. Thank you so much again for being with me here, and we're looking forward to next week. Anything you want to say to our viewers before we sign off?
Nothing other than their good health is right around the corner. It's as simple as putting a little sticker on your body. Just try it.
Great. Thank you again, Judy. We'll see you here next week. Same bat channel, same bat time. Well, there you have it. Again, I get so excited doing these shows because not only do I get to work with this knowledgeable person, but we are part of a massive organization of people that are committed to living longer, living well, and living younger. And we do it in the most natural way. just haven't found anything that has excited me as much as this have. And I invite you, get in touch with us. I'll put you in touch with Judy. She's wonderful. She will explain things to you. I will explain things to you. Come and investigate LifeWave and see if this doesn't work for you as it works for so many other people. So this is Carl Krebs. I'm signing off. Good mental health, good health, age-reversing health. Yeah, that's something that matters. Thanks for watching. We'll see you here next week. Same time.